Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, and today I've got a fellow European lady, a lovely lady called Bernadette Ana Bruckner, and she's from Austria. Bernadette, very, very, very warm welcome to our podcast today.
Welcome from Austria. I bring the sun here in.
That's great. Really love it. I'm assuming a lot of people worldwide will be wanting to feel a bit of that sun.
We share through the podcast, don't we?
Yeah.
With a smile and with an open heart.
Yes. So Bernadette, I would love you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in the industry that you're in terms of educating people about listening to themselves.
Mm-hmm. I'm originally from a bakery. So I always had to deal with different people, and in our cafe bakery, we also had like alcoholics and, very lonely people. And so I began just, sitting there and listen to them and just listen to their stories. And it always broke my heart because there are really, really, tough stories behind. And for me, I always wanted to help them. And through my story, I was abroad like many, many years and worked with different companies and I did a lot of stuff. And I had, 3 burnouts, was highly suicide, and I nearly died. And it was like, no, this is the wrong way. I always wanted to help people. And for me, it was like I began not going to a therapist or a coach. I began to make further education. And outcome actually that I created my own coaching therapy style and my own nutrition style, because I always was overweighted and really, people and can be very mean when you have much weight or you don't look like the standard. And for me it was like, this is the wrong way. There's something here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And for me, I always wanted to have also a relationship, but I was not like the beautiful woman, the top model, the skinny woman or something like that. And as very high sensitive person, it hurt me a lot. Mm. And I talked with many, many women, and it was like the same. I mean, I was never on Tinder. I know how it works, but I had a lot of women who desperate actually wanted to have a partner, who were totally open for a partner, and broke my heart again. And I was like, no, I developed, our own coaching therapy style, and the people came to me because they saw my changes. I got more happy, I got more open, I overcome all my obstacles. I created resilience methods for different people. That's like copy strategies, how you do with challenges, or when you have like a broken heart or something like that. So heal them and overcome them and just be open for a new partnership and perceiving new energies and new partnerships. And my biggest insight was only one, or actually the most one. That's my credo. I always say, listen to yourself. And love always begins with self-love. Absolutely. And when you love and appreciate yourself, it doesn't matter which weight you have, it doesn't matter how you look like, you shine from inside out.
100% agree.
And then you attract actually all those people around you, what actually nurture you and don't hurt you. And that was my biggest insight like 20 years ago. And for me, it's still a journey. Life will be always a journey. You always have challenges. You always have broken hearts, especially when you lose, beloved people. And that's why I'm also teaching, mothers and babies, and also be there for terminal care, and also be there for people in crisis and trauma. Mm. And especially when it comes, it's not always, I define being who we are, because at the first beginning we are humans, okay?
And then we are women, and then we are men, and all the things, and all the drama and the troubles, and everybody's telling us how we should be, everybody's telling us how the partnership should be, and all the things. And I'm like, no, who the hell are you telling me what to think about me, myself, and others? And that's why I do workshops, that's why I'll do coaching, that's why I write books and all the things as much as possible, only to remember everybody only one thing, to listen to themselves again, and that that beauty comes from inside out, and that everybody of us has their own beautiness. Sometimes we don't see it, sometimes we see it but not others, and sometimes both of them is not there. And as I mean, you know it as child. For example, as child, everybody's telling us, don't do this, don't do this. You're ugly. You're not good enough. You can't do math or all the things. That's like belief systems, and that's why I did NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and I do now my master and my PhD exactly in these fields. I call it calls neuropsycholinguistic.
Sorry, before you move on, Bernadette, can you just, for the listeners' benefit, I know what NLP is, but can you sort of give a brief layman's description of what that actually means, so that the listeners can understand what you're referring to there?
Yeah, it's like, actually, I say very simple. It's like you become aware how communication and linguistic affects your brain, your behavior, your identity, and also the way you think.
Yes.
For example, everybody of us has we all of us have like negative thoughts, negative things, what we say inside us, in our thoughts. And this can maybe become reality. I'll give you an example, because many people came to me already and I was totally shocked which kind of sentence they got from outside. There was a guy, he was brilliant. But he said to me, as a child, his math teacher always told him he's not good enough. He can't do this. He is too dull for that. So his grade in math got worse and worse and worse, because he always got this sentence that he cannot do math. And sometimes you get kind of a disorder or whatever disease comes up afterwards. And with the method, it's only a method. NLP is only a method, actually. And it shows or gives all the blind spots, what's inside you, all the beliefs, what you got and not aware of, become aware, and then you can change it. So it's actually a reframing of something what you got as child. And I do a lot of inner child healing. So we actually look at all the sentences, all the hurts, all the information, what you believe is real for you. We look at that, and then we reflect it, and then we change it. And a lot of thoughts can become, diseases, and also on body level and all the things. That's why I also created my nutrition form, and I have now a partner who is doing the sports stuff, that we bring it together and align body, mind, and soul.
Yes.
And for me, the true change always begins from inside out. And then your whole environment change, because your beliefs change. And then you really can recreate new what you think or believe who you are. And then all of a sudden, and I experienced it many, many times, your environment changes as well.
Yeah,
and that's for me,
I absolutely agree with everything you just said, because I've been aware of NLP and I've studied that myself as well, so I do understand the power of it, and that we are, as humans, carrying our own thoughts from childhood, which don't necessarily apply to us. If they're negative beliefs, they were probably attached to you unbeknowingly by teachers and parents, and we don't realize, do we, until we're taught around this stuff, that we're carrying these negative beliefs as baggage that are now affecting our current reality.
Of course. And I can tell you many, many stories about different people who were clients of mine, which were affected in as grown up for something they experienced in childhood. And there is, and I study actually the scientific part of NLP at the University in Salzburg. And it's so interesting because there is Jean Piaget. He was, from the childhood developer, like a scientist. And he said the first 6-7 years are the most important ones. And this is who creates your identity there. Mm-hmm. And that's why I do so many times the inner child healing. Yeah. And hopefully I get my book out this year, because I give in all the stuff what I do. I create resilience method and give all the scientific parts to it, why it works. And for me, it's like when I know myself better, and I always say I discover myself for years. And it's so interesting who I am, or not what others told me I should believe who I am, but who I am actually. And my whole, the most interesting part was my whole so-called friends, not whole, but actually 80-90% of my so-called friends back then are not there anymore. But now I have a lot of very nurturing people who are like at the same path, who are like have same visions and all those things. And that's for me so amazing. And for me, discovering myself, who I truly be, what I'm capable of, what my potentials are, is so powerful and so interesting that I always say myself every single day, what else can I, find myself today? What I never knew that I'm actually be. And I do a lot of stuff like creativity stuff, what I couldn't do in my teenager time because I worked a lot. And it's so interesting. And for me, it's like, as more as I discover myself, I smile from inside out. So my whole, when, it changes. It's like the same when you fell in love, you just look different. And everybody is telling you, did you like a facelifting or something? No, I'm in love. Yeah. What about when you have this kind of feeling for yourself first? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we get conditioned, don't we, without even realizing we're being conditioned. So if you have, like you say, that teacher who's telling you you're no good at maths, you're no good at maths, you're no good at maths, then obviously at some point that gets ingrained into your head without you even realizing. You carry that forward as baggage, and, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it?
Yes, Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
And it has a reason. And for me, it's like I'm a proud aunt of twin girls and a boy. And I just do a lot of positive things because we are only humans. Everybody of us needs nurturing words, needs a hug. Yeah. And why not hugging first myself? Why not talking nice first myself? Because I always say when I talk nice to myself, I automatically talk nice to the other ones.
Yes.
And I always say, I also teach, it's so funny sometimes, I also teach people how to listen active, because we never learned it, actually, how to listen, how we truly listen. And I'm someone, I always listen to people. I was a very, a quiet girl, and therefore I'm introvert, and I love listening to other people. And when I listen to them, sometimes it's like, it just hurts, because the way they talk about themselves is so negative that they always say, no. Did you actually listen to yourself, what you said right now?
Yes. I call
Most
it...
of them, they don't...
I have a saying for that people, when I'm working with them, are shoulding all over themselves, because they're saying, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And I say, hang on a minute, wait, we're out there. Stop shoulding all over yourself.
Yes, but it's so funny. I love wording. I love playing with words as well. For example, when you use the word belief system, you have the word lie in it. And when you see this word and just in a different way written, then it makes more sense when you talk about belief system. And most of them beliefs are like subconscious, as we said before. We got like in the first 6-7 years. You really can see most of them, they are lies, because they're coming from outside, but from not inside. Yeah,
I agree with that.
And only just for parents, listen to your children. Listen what you say to your child.
Yes.
And ask yourself, what I say right now, does it affect my child in 5 to 10 years? And how?
Because we can always change things to be reframed, and put across in a more positive, empowering way for our children. And like you say, those what they call the imprint period, especially, those first 7 years of a child's life massively impact, how they see themselves from that point onwards, doesn't it?
Yes. And that's like in Austria, a huge topic. We don't have enough teachers in primary school and in kindergarten. And I always say these are the most important years. You can nurture a child there the most, or you can hurt them. And that's why probably like tons of coaches and therapists are out there because of that. And I always say, I love what I do. That's out of discussion. But I always say I want to make myself obsolete, because then I know that the people out there are so happy that I, can quit my job. And that's why I love to work with mothers, sometimes for free, and also be in the kindergarten and play with them and all the things. Because love always begins with self-love.
Absolutely.
And also a positive talk always begins with a positive talk inside.
I think it's a key message, that you're getting out there in terms of listen to yourself, because isn't it true that we don't even, have any awareness usually around what thoughts or even what we're verbally speaking about when we speak to others, that are negative things that we're saying either to ourselves or about ourselves, and until we sort of go on this path where we gain this awareness and actually think, my gosh, you know what? I've been so hard on myself. And we've all done it. Don't make yourself wrong for being aware now that you might have done this to yourself, because we've all done it. But now it's a case of become more aware and catch it and change it.
Yes, and most of the people telling me they have no idea how can we change it? And also like, I experience it on my own. I compensate with food back then when I was overweight.
Yes.
When I couldn't handle any challenges out there or anything what said to me what was, didn't feel right, I compensated with food.
Mm-hmm.
And now after creating my nutrition work and got aware of all the beliefs behind food actually, because this is solid and like herbs are not as solid as food, but it's really does a lot with us. I changed my whole diet because of that, because I only did one thing. I cleared all the negative thoughts and find other ways of how to deal with challenges and all the things that I don't need that bad food anymore to destroy my body with it. And for me, it's so interesting how because like 99% of us are emotionally eaters. That means when it's connected with emotion, most of the time bad emotions, I eat according kind of food, what we believe makes us happy, what we actually learned, from our parents, what this kind of food should be, that it makes me happy.
Yeah, again, it's all down to that conditioning that we've not been aware of, isn't it? That we've grown up with and that we don't need anymore. We don't need to repeat any negative patterns of behavior. We don't, that our past doesn't define our future. We can change it. In other words, if we've had rubbish role models, whether it's teachers or parents, we don't need to repeat those patterns and be the same as those teachers or parents. We can make that decision and think, you know what, I'm going to choose to be different.
Yes, and also I always think that the change always begins in the becoming aware of what didn't work before. Because as you said, it's a path. Just being mad about ourselves that we didn't, work or function before properly, it's the wrong way. It's just, I did so much failures out there and so much, like, shit, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but it was shit. And it's for me, I always say it's my learning lesson. I would be more upset not doing anything what I did only because, you're not allowed to do this. And because I always say our life is about creating experience. life is about having, I don't know, fun, even fun with failure.
Yes.
Even when you know, oh, this one was not, the right direction. Okay, let's try something different. But asking myself, what could I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this person? Also in partnerships, by the way.
Yeah, I love what you said about having fun with failure, because it reminds me of a story of a multimillionaire woman who became successful, she said, and she gave a lot of credit to her father, who used to help her and her sister celebrate failure and mistakes. And around the dinner table, he used to say, okay, what mistakes have you made today? And what do you perceive, has been failures that you've made today? And they'd say what they'd done, and they'd have a laugh about it, and he'd ask them, well, what did you learn from that? And so that in future, she never perceived making any mistakes or failures as being a bad thing. She always saw it as an opportunity to change and grow from it.
Yeah, successful people love failures. I have one mentor, and he always said to us, feedback is the breakfast for champions. And for me, I do a lot of reflection. And I crack up when I, did kind of failure, whatever a failure is, because this is also a belief, by the way. In my world, there are no failures; there are only experiences.
Yeah, or feedback, like you said.
Yeah, or feedback, exactly. It's a huge difference. And like in Austria, making failures or fuck up is like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, no, why? You miss so much opportunities, actually. Because I learn, or I create everything out of every single failure, what I did, 40 years. I'm 43. I did a lot of failures, and I had so much fun. I know I have my 3 burnouts, but I don't want to change anything about it. Because to all these failures, I'm here today. I can nurture other people. They don't have to make the same, big path and create their own coaching, therapy style, or whatever. I just can nurture them now. What I couldn't do as child, I can nurture now. I can nurture, people who are addicts. Doesn't matter if alcohol, if food, whatever. I can help them now. It's only because I did all the mistakes before, and I wouldn't change anything. I had a speedy life, and I loved it. I mean, I nearly died, okay? But I had a speedy life. And that's so interesting. And I always say, yes, love begins with self-love. But self-love also means that I don't make myself any restriction. If my heart desires it, or if I decided that I want to do this, just do it.
Yeah. And
learn from it. And you also can learn from positive experience. But the interesting, I don't know if it's the same, but also it's like I learn more from the negative experience, but the positive experience are also very important.
Absolutely.
And this is actually the same with partnership. I wouldn't miss any of my exes. I love them. They were beautiful men, all of them. Okay, they are carrying their own stories, of course. But I learned so much from them, and I appreciate every single one because they are just beautiful men.
And aren't human beings at their core, I think, beautiful people? They've just been conditioned to be, who they are, whether that's perceived as positive or negative, and they're not aware of how that condition has impacted their lives and led them in a certain path that actually, once they become aware, they're actually empowered to change, should they choose to do so.
And for me, it's like there is always a reason why you, first of all, how should I say, when I desire partnership, I ask first myself, what actually do I desire inside me? What I believe I get from my partner. I'm not talking about sex and all the things, but I'm talking more, on emotional level, on the connection level, on those level.
Yeah, you should never feel... Sorry. Finish.
Yes. No, I think, just say this. I think it's the same direction.
Yeah, you should never feel that, a partner makes you complete. Yes. What my advice to people is, get to know yourself. Like you said, listen to yourself, learn to love everything about yourself. And then once you're in that high energy state, you'll attract a partner who will be the cherry on the icing of the cake that's already your beloved great cake of life that you're already living. You don't need a partner to make it any better, but he will be the cherry on top of an already great life.
Exactly. And it's so interesting because I met a lot of women who actually looking for a guy only to nurture them. And for me, it's like, no. I can build up my empire at least 3 times what I do actually, because I never want to be depend on a guy on the money, because I met a lot of women who were depending on the money. The guy left, the money left, and they ended up in in a woman's shelter. I think that's the English word for it. And they were in poverty, and I'm like, no way, come on, what's going on here?
Yes.
And that's sometimes we do totally like core learnings how to handle the finances and all the things.
I think there's basically 3 stages that I talk about, and that is, at the bottom of the pile is the codependent relationship, which is the unhealthy relationship where you're totally negatively codependent on each other. Then you've got the interdependent where you're sort of leaning against each other, but it's an okay relationship, but there's still sort of I suppose some sort of slight dependency on, or feeling that you need that other person to feel complete. And then you've got the totally dependent highest level relationships where you're both operating at your own highest level of and feeling great about yourselves first and foremost, and listening to yourselves first and foremost, where you're standing both still upright in your own strength, and you really complement each other.
Exactly. I don't know, it's sometimes rare, but sometimes it's there, and for me it's like having such a partnership. That's a gift. It's a divine gift, or however you want to call it, and just be grateful. For me, one of the most important key for a successful partnership is gratefulness.
Yes.
Being grateful that you're both healthy and that you can meet on eye level, and be also complete when you're not in this, and knowing that you're also complete when you're not in this relationship. And the interesting part is I grew up with men, so I know the point of view of men. It's like, just men coming to me and tell me everything. And at the moment I'm building up a man team, because they just function from differently.
Yes.
And I appreciate highly, because I learned a lot from men. And but their discussion and how they handle conflicts and challenges are just different.
Yes, definitely.
But everybody, they tell me their partnership problems and challenges and all the things, but just differently, because I just coach them through. And it's so interesting because they have just different values. And no wonderful woman out there, a true guy, it's not about the sizes.
No.
Or being a model or something like that. They have just different values. And when they are aligned with themselves, then it's the same. When they are happy with themselves, it's coming from inside out. They just speak differently. They just perceive you differently, and they see you as human being.
Definitely.
And it's I always say to everybody, first, we are humans here.
Yes.
And I wrote an article lately, and I said, my vagina doesn't define me. I'm sorry. I'm a human here.
Yes.
First of all.
Yeah.
And believe me, I was in hardcore men businesses, and they talked with me normally because I just put them on eye level. Even when I was a girl, okay, I have a big mouth sometimes, but in some industry you need that. But they trusted me afterwards. And I'm like, no. First, I'm a human here. Hello? I have a lot of in my brain. My IQ is maybe a little too high, but it's just there. And I know what I know. I know who I am, and I know what my potentials are.
Yeah, it's about having boundaries. Yeah, and knowing that you're worthy and that you are, of high value as a human being in the world, and then you'll attract alike in a reciprocal in a partner. If you operate from that level of understanding.
Yes. at the moment, it's like I have that for years already, and it's like, oh, that's way too much man here. I'm sorry. It's like, okay. But it's not. It's only because I discover myself every single day new, and it's like also for me it's like, oh, which kind of gift do I have else? I did stuff I never knew that I was able to 20 years ago. And I just do it out of the finger because I just changed my own point of view about myself, the way I think about myself. And therefore, I just other people are coming. And the interesting thing is, it's just, but that's what I always say. I was a human, a child. And okay, I got broken from men. Yes, it was really, really a tough time. But I always say, yeah, it's this sentence, it made me stronger. It's maybe not sometimes right, but it made me more aware about myself and just saying, hey, stop it. You can go that far, but not further, because I know who I am. And I know what my worth is. I know what I actually want from a partner. And this what my partner also gets. My partner always knows that he gets the whole attention, that I take him the way he is. It doesn't matter if he fucks up or not, that we both crack up about it, but it's just, we are humans here. And if I decide that this is my partner or this is a friend of mine, I always will be there for these people. And it's like, I sometimes I have no idea how to say, but if you're aligned with yourself, it's confident, there are tons of words out there, but everybody should define themselves who they want to be and not anybody else.
And not only, who they want to be, but recognize actually who they want to be is actually who they already are. That's already inside them, and to actually acknowledge that, that's already who you are.
And also discover yourself new. I'm like, I did it before. Every single week I did something new. What I always wanted to do, I have a bucket list. After I have this horrible car accident, 2014, where I nearly died, I was like, no. Okay, there again, someone want to tell me, lady, you are here for living here, not for dying, but for living. So I made my bucket list, and I do all my stuff on the bucket list. And I have weird stuff there. Stuff what you actually don't do, as grown up. You don't do that as grown up. I will do that as grown up.
Great stuff. I love it.
And yeah, it's like when you have fun with yourself, you attract those people right away.
I agree. Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time here, Bernadette. So what I'd love to leave the listeners listeners with is, if they'd like to be able to get hold of you to find out more about what you do around listening to yourself, what would be a great contact piece of information for them?
I'm a social media freak, so you find me everywhere on social media. I'm recreating my website at the moment, and my website is actually, my name is Bernadette Bruckner, together, and .com.
Excellent. And
otherwise, just contact me. I'm social media. I'm everywhere because I just love social media.
Well, I'll make sure. I'll make sure, as usual, all your contact information is in our show notes for our listeners to access. So thank you so much, Bernadette. That time's gone so quick. And it will be great to probably have another deep dive around another source or topic of inspiration or information that would be useful for our listeners to find out more about.
Thank you for your podcast. I think that's very important that you bring out all these beautiful people, because they are great topics. They are topics who everybody, should listen to it and just learn from each other. That's my biggest aim. When you talk to each other, we always get inspired from each other, and we should begin to talk normally, and just, if it's online or offline, with a coffee, without a coffee, just have a great conversation. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So much gratitude to my lovely guest, Bernadette Ana Bruckner. You can find out more information about Bernadette in our show notes. And I'll finally leave you with True Love Starts with, as my usual gift to you is to say, with opening our hearts. So thank you for listening. Until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group To Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.